Hey, greetings there, everybody. It's GleeCon, and I'm back again. Thank you for tuning in, for clicking and watching another episode of Lore of Warcraft. You rock. On the last episode of reading, so let's just kind of put ourselves in two lanes now. So we're going to almost deal with these separately than we do our playing one. So in the last reading one, because we've been going through the Art of the World of Warcraft series, we finished off the Wrath of the Lich King art, and so that sets us up chronologically for the Art of World of Warcraft Cataclysm. There's also a cinematic art, which we are going to do on the show. However, that is a much more hard to find book. It's not uploaded on any fake sites. You can't get an e-reader of it. So kind of like we did with the magazines, I've had to pay for that one, order it. It's not as hard to find as those magazines were. Because those I had to order like in duplicate bundles from eBay, which was a pain. But I will have to take that book and scan it in and upload it. So it should be here in a few days, and it takes some time to scan and upload. But we will get that done. We might just push forward because it came out in 2012, which is also when Mists of Pandaria came out. So we technically have this book and the next one that we can kind of sort of get through before we've got to, commit. Although this one does look shorter. It looks like these are slowly, incrementally getting shorter and shorter. Or maybe this is longer. Actually, I think it might be longer. But maybe this one has more single pages added in, because when they're half spreads, they're usually about, I don't know, it was about 100. They've all been breaking in a little bit above 200 other than the first one. But anyway, stay a while and listen as we dive into Cataclysm. This looks to be in the same production quality as the last one, so I'm expecting pretty much the same treatment. You've got the same book jacket kind of concept where, and all the art they poured into Deathwing makes the Art of Cataclysm awesome. I'm actually not a Cataclysm hater. I don't hate what they did. I don't hate how they changed the world. I just like the ability to experience both. Over here you have whoever, Garrosh, or whoever was the leader during the this chapter, because Thrall goes off. Maybe that's like the little Wildhammer dwarves home, and then some tree-ish kind of areas. I'm not even sure what that is. We'll dive into it. This is the hardcover that would be underneath the sheath. I'm guessing this would maybe be like interior binding. Cool picture of Deathwing. And then another splash page on the other side, a big hammer, oh no, that's the Frost, or the Doom Hammer. And then here's the cover that says Cataclysm, an exploding volcano. The contents, it looks like we have a little bit less. Legacy of Destruction, Deathwing, so an art section devoted to Deathwing. The End of All Things, Twilight's Hammer. Maybe that's also giving us a Twilight Highlands. A Changing World of Kalimdor, and the Eastern Kingdom. So new Eastern Kingdom, the new changes. Lock the Doors, so the Art of Gilneas. Message in a Bottle, Kazan and the Lost Isles, so the Goblin Starting Land. Forgotten Depths, Vizier, so they do actually give us that new zone. Mysteries in the Sands, the Uldum Zone. Realm of the Fury, the Elemental Plane. I don't know if that's going to be the Firelands or where Thrall goes. Hard to say. We do have, I guess, some reading. I've got to zoom in a little bit. All right, let's check this out. Legacy of Destruction, Deathwing. Sentinels. I wish I were writing with news that would lift your hearts, but the purpose of this missive is much bleaker. I have received word that Zaxxas, isn't that like from, oh, that's Roxas, as I say, isn't that like from Kingdom Hearts? Or Deathwing, as he is called in some tongues, has returned. It is he who is responsible for the rampant destruction that has hit Azeroth. For those of you who were born after our war with the Burning Legion over 10,000 years ago know that we once considered this dragon a protector of the world. Yet we were not aware that treachery was brewing in his heart, a truth revealed when he murdered our kin and even his own dragon brethren when we needed him most. Doubtless even the youngest among you are familiar with the schemes that he orchestrated in the ages that followed, including his disappearance nearly 2 decades ago. In light of the catastrophe that has just transpired, it seems that during his absence, Deathwing has grown more powerful than ever before. I know not what fuels his rage, nor what he plans next. He is a creature we cannot reason with. All that we can do is steel ourselves in preparation for what is to come, and remain ever vigilant. Illume be with you all. General Chandris Feathermoon. There's a sketch of his head. So that is the dope Deathwing. It's just like they just took new heights of making a dragon look awesome in an evil way. Here's him flying through the sky like a comet, a different look of his head, and a different facial thing. Because the key is that ripped off and metallic jaw that he has. That's one of his most cool and unique features. There's a nice picture of him in profile. Here's him in his human form, and I like how he still keeps the jaw almost like an armor piece, with this big two-handed mace, and maybe some little sketches of him to the side. More pictures of his head, and this has got like dangling bits of metal. This is maybe him in normal versus him now. And then some pictures of his underground like smelting area. They should have made that a 2-page spread. I don't know why they pulled off of that, but this is a pretty cool like poster pic of him with the one broken horn as well. Here is some concept sketch of his head. Not as cool as the refined jaw that they eventually give him. And there's him roaring, almost like these are pieces from a cinematic cutscene. And that's that same kind of art style that we get with, we've seen in the last book where they like to draw the one character, one little random person for perspective. Okay, so here we have him actually climbing through this portal, but it's almost like the cover of the game, like it's a take on the way they make Warcraft look, and he's got like a tongue of flame. It's actually a pretty freaking cool picture. All right, so that's all the cool art of Deathwing. The end of all things is the Twilight's hammer. Lord Ebenlock. A number of townsfolk are complaining about someone nailing disturbing letters to their doors in the middle of the night, but no one has been able to identify the culprit. I've included one of these letters for your review. The master calls, echoing death and destruction across the globe. The earth bellows, fissures devouring the weak and the strong alike. The wind howls, snatching up bodies like leaves in the breeze. The water screams, shearing coastlines with the ease of a scythe through grain. The fire roars, turning plains and forests to charcoal and ash. The Twilight's hammer descends, and all of Azeroth will hear its knell. Add your voice to our glorious chorus, called 555, for it is the song that will end the world. I fear that this Twilight's hammer may be trying to play off the fear caused by recent reports from Stormwind, Lakeshore, and Westfall. I've already placed the Night Watch on high alert and will update you with any further news as I hear it. Respectfully, Roll Druger. I like that you have the Night Watch there. Again, Game of Thrones much. Also, there's a guild named the Night Watch, and I just assumed they were from Game of Thrones. I realized that I didn't realize that there was a thing in the game called the Night Watch. I forgot about that, and I'm not sure who it is. I like the elemental motif going through that. I guess those lines. It's not exactly poem, but prose. So they don't give us a Twilight's Highlands, I guess, because they're going to focus on this. And this is, I don't even know what's happening there. Purple magic. Maybe they're signifying that's like the old god chaos magic or whatever. Here are some of these platforms and the rib cagey kind of motif there, an altar of ascension. And there is this, one of the guys riding like a buffalo looking thing. Elemental spine cage. I guess this is kind of one of their little weird twisted spires. So it's kind of showing the art look they're going for this old god worshipping group. Here you have, I'm not exactly sure, different potential staffs, totems, just concept art, sketches really. And here's the Highlands with the weird stones that they have out, almost like a Stonehenge kind of things. Again, more concept art of maybe towers. And here you have like dragon wings ripped off and hanging. So are these guys anti-dragon? I don't remember enough about this storyline. I only played through the Cataclysm expansion lands like once or twice ever. At least twice. Yeah, this is a more detailed, and it's got that floating. They like to do that where the magic's holding up I don't know what that is. A portal? And here's it is going all the way up into the sky, and lightning is kind of coming up like it's a storm. That's pretty cool. This is like some of the worshippers around. I don't know what that is. Yeah. You kind of see them around one of these altars. Some of their building structure concept art, like their tents and things. But even they have like these wispy, old gaudy kind of tentacles coming out of the top. Twilight's Hammer magical devices, just rando magical devices. It shows how it rotates as it's animated. It's got this floating triple head skull like the multi-headed ogres. Here you have a sketch of the Twilight Highlands, because this area didn't exist for a while. Got some rivers going through there, the tentacles coming up, the Cthulhu type of old god stuff, an entrance detail of one of their tents. Here's more of the, I don't know what that is. It's supposed to be an entrance or maybe more hanging wings. Twilight's Hammer buildings. Yeah, so again, it's like they're mixing the Cthulhu type of motif with some kind of jaggedness and some ogre kind of feel to it as well, with the hides coming down and the horns and the watchtowers and the hanging devices. So it's definitely an amalgam of things. Yeah, Twilight's Hammer watchtower. Here is like almost like a catapult, because it's got the wheels as it moves along. Some kind of war device or scaffold or something. And yeah, it's like they've twisted the actual landscape itself with their weird worship. This is a Twilight's Hammer priestess. That is a cool jagged tentacle staff. So yeah, like the spikes mixed with the wings, mixed with the tentacles. Got scales, so it's like combining these concepts, and some skulls in there. This guy's got the full split weird helmet thing. It's kind of neat as art. I don't know how it is as a character. The Twilight Fortress is like underground almost, so like looking like a big portal, and then some little structures, some fences. Yeah, they've got these little weird things wrapped around their fortress. It's like a mine that's been taken over and is now their fortress. And they've got a hammer cart, a Twilight's Hammer cart. Yeah, again, it has that wing. The wings are part of the motif, but not the actual head of like a dragon. So it's kind of weird. Here is another Twilight's Hammer cultist. He's got a big hammer. He looks like brain dead. He's got a shield there. Twilight's Hammer Ogre Camp. So that's another big, and I mean, I guess the ogres do hate dragons, right? I don't know how that goes. So this is the big entrance to their camp. It's got a giant like dragon demon head and wings. They've got the wings, just some weapons coming off with, it's like dead dragon ideas. Twilight Fortress, that big floating spire that we showed some pictures of before. So this is just sketches of that. It's pretty cool. More Twilight Fortress pictures. My hat's off to these guys that do this as a living. Well, I've always been just impressed by people that can draw so well. Definitely you'll get me. A Changing World, Kalimdor and the Eastern Kingdoms. I was in the Southern Barrens when the world broke. Azeroth, wrenched, jagged maws of stone and dirt opened all around me. I turned in horror to see that my elder brother Korok was falling into one of the gaping fissures. With all my might, I struggled to pull him free, but in that moment, when he needed me most, I failed him. The screaming rift snapped shut, rending Korok's flesh and bone with sickening ease. Terrified, I fled south to the Great Lift, only to watch as the sea raged through the red canyons of Thousand Needles, consuming all in its path. I then went north until I came upon a fiery chasm that sliced the barrens in two as if some monstrous demon had cleaved Azeroth's belly with his tainted axe. Despite the chaos, I could not shake Korok's death from my mind. A brother, friend, proud orcish warrior, crushed like an insect under the foot of a traveler. Many suns have passed since that day, but I fear that the whole of Kalimdor and even the distant Eastern Kingdom will never be the same again. More and more I hear tales of how these lands have suffered from the upheaval's wrath. fire spewing from the heart of Ashenvale, flooding in the formerly parched lands of Tanaris and Durotar, and coastal settlements in Darkshore and the wetlands claimed by hungry seas. Azeroth is changing, but I must endure to see that Korok receives an honorable burial. If it takes a lifetime to find my brother's broken body entombed beneath the sacred earth, then so be it. Tharkon Bloodspike of the Crossroads, and there's a weird egg thing. Just some eggs. This is like this is, I think, one of the Wildhammer Dwarf little villages within the Highlands. And I'm not sure what this underground tree is, except I think this is more Twilight Highlands caves, almost hobbitish type hill towns. Maybe that's a city on the shore, because I do think there is one there. This is a weird Etten, like a two-headed giant kind of thing in armor, and they are mobs you fight, I believe, in the Highlands. This is what the dungeon, I can't remember, Grimbatal, or not Grimbatal, maybe it is. It's one of the dungeons that you would fight there. Might be Grimbatal. Here are some orc settlements out there, where you have the watchtowers and stones stacked in some snowlands. Here's a ripped thing, like fallen down from, that would actually be cool if they left stuff like that there. And then, yeah, more entrances to the underground with some ships coming through. Because, again, I do think there is a port in Twilight Highlands. So this might be... Well, this was originally Stormwind. We just saw the pictures where you had the broken guy. Maybe that's Taranis, or maybe it's Lothar. It's whoever picked up the broken sword, I guess, and helped win the Second War. And then you have Illyria, or whoever was the lost hunter. My guess is that this is supposed to be Khadgar, even though it doesn't look like him. You have an orc lord, maybe a dwarf lord, maybe the Wildhammer guy that was part of the team. So you have these statues, but it looks like maybe they're gone because they're sort of faded out. You also have Thrall looking way different now, so they're showing his new Cataclysm look as he's going full shaman. And this is the new leader of the Horde. It looks like he's taking down a Tauren. Can't remember that guy's name. Maybe it's Verosh. Here you have more of these Ettins. Not quite as cool of a picture, but still. And then this is... I don't know what this is. Is this supposed to be Twilight Highlands? Is this Grim? Is this Tol Barad? Not sure. But you just have these sort of sticking up. Or maybe this is supposed to be above ground, above Vajir. Here you have the two orcs. I don't think they're fighting. That looks like Thrall, and it almost looks like he's taking Verosh here and... Or what is the Horde leader's name in... it's going to kill me. So let's look that up. Cataclysm, actually. But anyway, it looks like because he did suffer like the loss of his dad or something like that. Horde leader, Kata. Yeah, Garrosh. I don't know why I kept saying Verosh. Yeah, I said Garrosh there. There's Garrosh in his iconic shoulder armor, which, I mean, again, you people make these ideas up artistically, and then they just become iconic. Like, that is what you think of when you see him now. Again, more Twilight Highlands. They love that zone. This is Kazan. I wonder if we're going to have... I wonder if they're just showing, but this is supposed to be Kazan, and that's not one of the... Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do, if we're going to have some mixed up with the way they uploaded it last time. This is the Barrens, now that it's before and after. It's been rendered into Northern Southern Barrens to help avoid the conundrum that I'm having in my spreadsheet. I'm getting to the point where I have to decide how I'm going to handle splitting the leveling process for Northern Barrens, Southern Barrens, etc. I think I could kind of come up with a compromise, but this door, I don't know what that is. It's like flying off. But it's a tower. It's a Zeppelin tower now. And there's the Zeppelin kind of modified and upgraded, and shows it popping. That's almost like from a cinematic. Okay, lock the doors, Gilneas. Dear Margaret, I heeded your advice from last week to board up my windows and buy a reinforced door. None too soon either. The Starlight slasher struck a household not 2 blocks from my own last night. I inquired with the authorities at the scene about what they're doing to rein in this murder spree, but they didn't even grant me a second glance, waving me off with the usual "stay off the streets and lock your door." I know most of them don't trust me, but they're not proving to be trustworthy themselves either. Well, I'm not one to sit around waiting to get dragged off in the middle of the night. I've started training the Mastiff pups I bought from Rupert on a lark last month to track a scent, and they've taken to it quite well. They'll make fine hunting and guard dogs soon, so I'll be happy to pass off one to you once they're able to track a scent decently. They're right pleasant company, and it'll help your young ones sleep better. That's at least a month off, though, so just consider the offer for now. Which brings me to the reason for this letter. The attached package is a blunderbuss. Be sure to unwrap it at home and keep it somewhere hidden but accessible. I threw some spare powder and buckshot in there, too. No need to thank me. You helped my father when he was in a rough spot, and Crowleys never forget kindness freely given. Take the gun and keep safe. I fear things are going to get worse before they get better. Sincerely, Lorna Crowley. Okay, and you get some of the cool things that we're going to be in for as we do Gilneas. You get the British talk here and there. You get their affinity for dogs. I like that the idea that they almost made a Jack the Ripper kind of thing going on, tied into that whole English style. You've got the new guns that are added in. So this is one of the main reasons worgen is probably my favorite race in World of Warcraft, and I just love them as a player. They did it right. I mean, just think about what we had. Okay, so in Burning Crusade, they gave us Draenei, the race I didn't know I wanted, but I love based on the history, and Blood Elves. Okay, cool. You give an elf to the Horde side. I get it. Then you have Wrath. They don't give us a new race. That's okay, because they gave us Death Knights. So I'm fine with that. Then you get Kata, and they give us Worgen and Goblins. Just straight dope. Like, I really think, I didn't know I wanted Worgen either, but I was definitely saying Goblins should have been part of the Horde for a long time. When they gave us Goblins, I was stoked. Okay, then they gave us Mists of Pandaria. I didn't get, at the time, I was like turned off because I never played Warcraft 3. I was turned off by the idea of the panda, the Pandaren, but they're actually a cool race. And they give us also Monk class, pretty cool. But like, what's been happening after that? Then you get Warlords of Draenor, and what do you get? Maybe I'm forgetting something. I can't think of anything cool. I don't think you get a new class or a new race. I hate that expansion. It's my least favorite one. Then you get Legion. Okay. They initially don't give us anything new. They do give us Demon Hunter. So also, great class. Love that class. But as you get to the end of it, they start rolling out the basically cosmetic classes, the reskins, the mechanomes, but they don't give you the coolest ones yet. But they start unrolling that, and then BFA kind of fades into that. So you don't get anything, but at least they're like, hey, if we're not going to give you anything, we're going to give you 10 new races to pick from, even if they're kind of cosmetic. But some of them, nestled within there. Okay, well, you're giving us the Kultirans, and you're giving us the Zandalari Trolls, and you're giving us the Mechanomes. So there are some cool ones in there. And that, even though they sprinkle it over 2 expansions. Okay. Shadowlands, what do we get? Nothing. No new class, no new races. They do a level squish instead. Then Dragonflight, you get the Drakthir Evokers. I guess you get the new race class combo, which is what they did but it's an elite race or class. I don't know. I haven't played around with the Drakthir as much. I do have one that I took up to level 70. But other than that, it's just, I need to go back and mess with it more. I will. Sorry for the divergence there. It just made me think about how awesome it was once upon a time, and it just doesn't feel the same anymore. Give me a race like I'm excited about. Don't make one up when there's so much rich lore there. Please listen. And now I hear we're going to get Earthen for the next one. Not the route I'd go. A dwarf reskin, basically. All right, so here you have Gilneas itself with like a worgen warlock and some of their buildings. The harbor of Gilneas, maybe like a worgen warrior. No, I'm not skipping through because I don't appreciate the art. I do like all this. Kind of the countryside around Gilneas. I don't know what the heck that's supposed to be, a rat thing. It's just some concept motifs, very rough sketches. I like the windmills. They do some of this kind of. They've touched in. You could tell they were dipping their toes in a little bit in Duskwood and that town that's in the Blasted Lands, I think it is. That's like infected by the worgen. That's a worgen like leader right there, one of the nobility. Maybe even their Greymane, possibly. Here's another. I like it that they've leaned into it. He's a warrior. He's got the sword and shield, but the way it's almost like a samurai with his ponytail, and I don't know what the heck that is. Some weird tree thing. They're walking through a forest. Here's one of the cool buildings. It's almost got this Indian motif. I don't know what that is. Maybe that's a worgen in human form. Which is another reason why I like the worgen. I like that. It's got the giant gas lamps out in front. There's the spooky forest. Oh, what's that other zone in BFA? The Drusk, where the Drusk come from or whatever. Here you have the weird tree. More spooky forests surrounding the area. Gravestones, a little wagon. Again, here's maybe their crest with the gas lamps or their candles, but same kind of idea. There's that. She almost looks like that famous one that goes into the Plague Lands on her cart. There's a full splash picture of a worgen. That's pretty cool. This is like a worgen hunter. That's cool with the guns and arrows. And then like hanging heads. He's got a spear on his back too. That's a freaking dope picture. Just more houses and scenery. I guess when you get a picture that cool, you couple it with something like that's good art, but not as attention grabbing. Another cool worgen in the background. Another worgen warrior. Yeah, they just got so much to work with this whole new race. This is like a graveyard zone, which you see things like that in. It makes me think of Shadowlands. In the kind of the south area of the Revendreth, maybe. So you definitely see some of these motifs there. There's a goblin fighting a worgen. I love it. I've seen that picture before, but it's cool. He's fighting a little team of them, and he's got his claws. Here's an overhand map of what Gilneas would look like, and some of more of the buildings. All right, so that takes us to Kazan. It brings us right to our half-hour point. I think we'll stop there, even though we're not quite halfway through the book. We'll finish it next time. But I think as exciting, as cool as the art was to finish with the worgen, I think we'll get just as cool art in the goblins. So that will be something fun for us to start with next time to get us juiced for the rest of the episode. But this episode is in the pipe 5x5. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching and for tuning in. I'll see you next time on Lore of Warcraft. Peace out.